In this video, I'll show you how to write effective Etsy titles and tags that will help you rank your products higher in the search results. This is an essential skill you need to learn as an Etsy beginner. Even for myself, who's been selling full-time on Etsy for many years now, I still do this exact same process. So sit back and relax, and at the end of the video, you'll know exactly how to write the most effective Etsy titles and tags, and how to set up your product listings to get more traffic and sales. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is have an idea of what category you want to do your researching in for your titles and tags. And for this example, I'll be doing monitor stands, as this is one of the products that we're trying to launch for one of my stores. And just to give an example, this is the product that we're launching. Okay, so we're selling the actual stand itself. And if you look through all the images, fun fact, I took these images myself with my iPhone at our studio. So yeah, very excited to be launching this product. Hopefully it does really well. These are locally sourced in Canada, here in Vancouver. So very cool, very excited. But let's get back into the researching phase. And obviously you can apply this to any category you're doing. This step-by-step process will run you right from the beginning, from researching your keywords for your titles and tags all the way till listing it. Okay, so make sure to stay to the end for this process. I searched monitor stand because I want to get a general idea of what people are using for keywords. It's a good way to get inspired by different ideas, and then we'll research deeper into the data. So right here, I'm using EverBee. Once you have this installed, they have a free version you can check out, and you can definitely do what we're about to do for this video. So you will come in here and analyze all the searches from the existing page. I always categorize them from the revenue count. I want to track the ones that are doing the best and see what titles and tags are using, right? So product name, you can get a lot of ideas from this area right here, but I like to look at the tags. Okay, for the most part, their titles and tags are usually the same, which I'll explain later on when we get to that stage. But here you can get some good idea from different tags here they're using, but also the volume count. So now that you found some keywords that are relevant to you, you want to jot them down. So how do you write these down? Either with pen and paper, you can do that, or you can always create your own Google Sheet, which I have done to list them all out. So you can access this from the description below. I'll just offer it to you. You can check it out in the link and you can use it for yourself. So you can follow the example from this. So right here, this is just an example of what I'll be using. And this is where you would input the keywords, the keyword tags that are relevant to your category, the search volumes that we'll get to later, same with the competition, the ratio, which we'll talk about, and the Google searches. But the first part we want to do is just curate our list of keywords. So let's come back here. I'm going to start going through these and see what's relevant. Desk accessories, maybe that's cool. Dual monitor stand is definitely a dual monitor stand. So let's come here. And I'm going to continue to add keywords in here. So for example, you see this one says home office. You got office desk. So technically this product, it does fall into the category of home office, office organization, right? So these are more secondary keywords that aren't the exact description of this product itself, but we still want to jot these down in case that there's good search volume and low competition rate. We want to record them down. So office desk, right? Things that you think are adjacent to the category, we definitely want to record them all. So let me speed up this process and I'll quickly list out the ones that works in my category and we'll go to the next step. So now that you feel like you've got a good variety of keywords that are relevant to yours based on what the competitors are using, obviously look at their tags, but also their titles and just kind of get some ideas. So now that you have this, you want to bring it into eRank, because now we want to start looking at the searches, the competition, right? Figure out what has the most demand, but also a good ratio between them, which I'll show you how this part works. Okay, so we're going to go bring them into eRank. And eRank, this is another tool that I love using for in terms of getting more data. So for here, once you sign into this, you can start searching the keywords one by one. And let's actually go with a monitor stand and see what we get. for this exact keyword. And also, even though you're searching each keyword from here, you can also get related searches down below that you might not have recorded anyways. And you never know what you find. You always find some new ones that could be applicable that other people aren't using. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, monitor stand. So now we want to start recording this. The average searches, we got 5,500. This one was just an example, but it was close enough. The competition, come back here, is 1,100. So let's say 1,100. Okay, cool. So as you see, right when I populated this, this went to 5. Let me just go back. From 0, if I go 1,100 here, this automatically shows you the ratio. So what this means is my way of telling what's a good ratio profile between the searches and demand. And as we populate more of these, you'll see different numbers here. And pretty much the higher the number is, the better you want to prioritize these keywords. But you'll understand more as we go route here. And over here, you see the Google searches. This is something that you get from down here. The sun is blasting me right now. In Vancouver right now, it's like snowing outside. So everything's reflective because it's so white outside. So the sun's hitting one way. It's just shooting all over. I should probably put my blinds down, but it's okay. Got some sunscreen on. But yeah, so talking about the Google searches here, monitor stand, we can always jot this down. 24 or 240,000. Why do we want to take note of the Google searches? So most of the time when we're marketing on Etsy, we're only trying to target the searches from Etsy itself. But sometimes if you have a category that's doing really well with low competition, you can get promoted through on Google searches, on the actual biggest search engine on there. So you always want to take note of this in case there might not be the best stats on this area. But if it's really good on the Google searches, you might still want to include that in your titles and tags. Okay, and we'll go over how to structure that in the last step. But right now, I'm going to continue and populate the rest of the data here. So as you can see, this last part I did, once I put in the searches and competition, yeah, it automatically populated the ratio. Okay, so just an example, and let's continue on. Okay, so something else I want to take note. As I was doing my researching, I saw the laptop stand, which was one of the keywords I was looking into. But down here, and this is what I love about the researching phase and just exploring new categories with eRank, EverBee, is that you always find a new keyword that you never thought about. Vertical laptop stand, right? Although this is not related to the product I'm doing, because it's one of the ones where if people want like a laptop, they put like a vertical little wood block, right? Different, not a desk. But what you can do is take note of this, that maybe for your next product, you can do something similar, right? So as you're researching your category, you always stumble upon new things to do. So for me, I'm definitely going to take note of this. Maybe I want to create the next product based on this keyword. Okay. So something to keep in mind as you're researching, to always scout out different ideas and different opportunities, because this is a really good one. 700 searches, pretty low, but the competition is only 80. Something to think about when you do yours. Also, another thing I want to take a note of is as you're researching these, you want to take a look at the search trend. So it shows you each month on average how many people searching it. So right now we're in December as I'm recording this. This is definitely more popular during the summertime. There's 8,000 searches at this time, and right now it's only to a couple thousand searches, okay? So something to take a note. Maybe it may seem not as good now, but it could be really good a couple months from now. So keep that in mind. All right, so now that we've recorded all the data from the keywords we want to use, we know how many searches, how many competition, what the ratio between the two is, also the Google searches. Now we can break it down. How do we want to prioritize the titles and tags? So when we get to that point, we always want to put the ones that we want to target the best at the front of how we organize the titles and tags. All right, so right now we're going to do exactly that. Now I just want to color categorize these items, and I like to pick the ones that has the highest ratio. So ideally, if you have anything that's over 1, it's really good. That means it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Right here, it's a 5-to-1, which is like literally the best you can have, which means every 5 buyers there's only 1 available competition. There's only one listing that's competing for 5 customers. That's like the best scenario you can get. On average, for the most part, anything closer to 1. So let's say for this one, this is still really good. Okay, so let's say every 16 people buying, there's 22 shops trying to get those 16 buyers, okay? I'm going to highlight the ones that are the best right here. Anything that's better than 0.1, I'm going to highlight here, and I'm going to label them with a green mark, just like how eRank does it. And same with the searches. Anything that I feel like good searches, these are good. I like these ones. Yeah, this one's good. Anything 1,000. I guess these are all good that I like, so I'm going to put them all in green. And by the way, as you're doing this, you don't have to do this every single time you create a new listing. Once you have an idea of a category itself, you create this once and you can reference it back every time you create listings. So let's continue on. I don't really not do this one just because if we have the ratio and the searches, it kind of implies that you know what the competition is, but this is just how I do it. And from here, I like to see which is the ones I want to use the best. At this point, I already know that I'm going to be using monitor stand as the primary one just because the ratio is really good. The search volume is also really good. So let's actually get into how to set up the listing now in this third step. We're going to come up to the top right, click on add a new listing. I'll start one from scratch. And this is just a mock-up shop that I'm using for this tutorial. And the reason why I haven't been using my existing shops is something I want to clarify with you guys. If I had everyone from my YouTube audience, right, from TikTok, if all these tens of thousands of people going into my actual shops, that will flood it up with a huge traffic, a lot of views coming in, but you guys aren't the ideal customers who are looking to buy those products. So if I had a surge in viewers, traffic into those shops, my conversion rate will drop significantly just because no one's purchasing, right? Etsy, if they see that, it will really lower the rankings of my shop. And since those shops are my bread and butter, right? I make most of my living through these shops. I can't afford that as much as I want to show you guys the process of my actual shops, but I just can't just because when that happens, I'll probably lose that side of the business. So hopefully you guys understand that and able to just appreciate the free content that I put on YouTube. But yeah, that's something I want to address for a long time. Let's continue on to with this mockup shop. So I'm going to upload the listing photos. Just give me 1 second. All right. And I definitely want to start rearranging some of these. And just a quick tip for me, I personally, when I do these, I like to show the overall product in the very front, a good clean background, and then maybe show a variation. If you're doing frames, you can show different frames. For me, I'm showing different ways to set up the actual product with different use cases. And then ideally, I want to show a close-up, right? So whether it's this close-up or this one, and then have some contrast by showing a far shot on the overall with a different angle. Even though it's similar to this is a close-up, right? Or actually, I might want to stagger these ones so they're not right next to each other. But ideally, I like to always have contrast between each slide so that it keeps the interest alive as they scroll through. So just some additional tip on how I usually structure my photos, and always create a storyline, understanding what might their next question be every time they scroll through a different image. Right after this one, they might think, hey, maybe I want to see a close-up, and then the next one is a close-up. After a close-up, oh, maybe I want to see one, just try to understand how the consumer mindset works, and it will be really good for you. So coming down here, I won't go too much into everything else because I only want to focus on how to put the titles and tags, and that's the point of this video, and how we're gonna structure it. As we mentioned back here, that this is my primary keyword. So I'm going to put monitor stand as the very first one. Monitor stand, okay? But something else I want to take a note of. If you look over here, this one is dual monitor stand. Even though it's got really low searches, low competition, and this ratio is good, but the idea of it is a low search volume for dual monitor stand. However, dual monitor stand is a long tail keyword that encompasses the word monitor stand. So I can actually put dual monitor stand, and this will also target monitor stand for this one, and also this one. If you think of some keywords that are relevant that you can use as a long tail, that might not be the best one, but inside that long tail has what you want in terms of your primary one, then you can include it. That one I'm going to try to do including both. So next one, what are we going to do here? Monitor riser. This one's got 3,000 searches, really good ratio, right? Compared to some of the other ones, compared to this one, laptop stand. Even though it has higher searches, but the ratio, I mean, this one's actually really good too, but I think mine is more catered towards the monitor riser. So I'm going to now add. And that's what you do. You just continue prioritizing which one you think is the best, but also think about some secondary keywords. So for example, gift for him is a very vague one, but you might still want to target this, right? Same with desk organizer. This is not exactly describing the product, but it still fits within that realm. People could be searching desk organizer and be like, oh, I didn't think I needed this monitor stand. Maybe I do now. Maybe I'll click into it. Maybe I'll click into their other products in their shop. So generally in your titles and tags, you always want to target specific keywords, but also target some broader secondary keywords just to cover the wide variety of search intent based content out there. So I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to quickly fill out the titles and we'll go into the tags. All right, so now that we've got a title in place now, for this last one, I put gift for him and her. I feel like this is a pretty unisex item anyways. So for using this, it can target gift for him, but also gift for her. Something that I want to add in there, and this is perfect. So a lot of people ask, do you fill out the whole titles all the way to the very end with 21 more characters left? Or do you fill it halfway or just a little bit? For me, I always like to use as much as I can, but I don't like to max it out too much. Like I would not do this, right? I wouldn't just do 2 keywords. I would always try to add more. Even if you feel like you don't have that many keywords that you can use for your specific category, it's okay if you feel like you want to use the word monitor stand a couple times, you want to use the same keyword and repeat it a bit. Don't stuff it like crazy, but I think it's totally fine to just use it a couple times in here. Now you have the titles. For the description part, I'm not going to go too deep into this category as I have another video that I can link here that totally describes how to structure your descriptions, but you still want to be able to include some of these keywords in here. You don't really want to paste it like this, but you want to word it in a sentence form, sprinkle it here and there throughout the description. But I'll have more information in the link that I'll have somewhere here for you to check out that tutorial. Coming down here for the tags, what I always do is ideally I want to paste it the exact same structure as how I did the titles. So here I'll pretty much copy and paste this. And once when I put it in here, usually you can just press add. If you have the right comma and space, it will just automatically fulfill this category just like that. Right here you see there's 6 left because for the tags, you can always add 13 total tags. And I always recommend definitely use them all. If it's there for you to input, you definitely want to saturate as many keywords as you can. For the ones that we did not cover in the titles, we can include those in the tags. I'm not going to go through that part, but just because you just pretty much enter these ones here like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video in terms of how to do your titles and tags. This is how I do it. And if you want access to this sheet, you can just check it out in the link below. It's free, so definitely use it if you want. And in terms of just marketing in general, this is all I do for organic reach, for the internal Etsy searching. But also once you have all these in place, you can just start turning on the Etsy ads and they'll be targeting mainly for these keywords and the ones in your descriptions, in your titles. And then from there you can optimize it. But there's another video for that category. But just in terms of how to set up your Etsy titles and tags, this is it. This is all I've been doing. So hopefully you found this helpful. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe if you want to learn more Etsy tips on how to be successful selling on Etsy. All right. So until then, I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.